I never actually know which one it's on. We're going to partake in Are my phones off today? Let's make sure. Yesterday it was us. Let it not be us today. Hello, welcome to episode 8 of the Fairly Awesome podcast. Today's episode is on love and belonging. So this is step 3 of self-actualization. This one fits smack dab in the middle of things that you are going without and things that you need to grow. So a lot of the time, having a community, having friends, having specifically a romantic partner or some level of connectedness with other human beings in an intimate way provide a lot of the things that oftentimes you could be going without. I'm sorry, I was losing my words there. So, for example, if you're in a relationship and you're in a monogamous relationship and you are at the point of physical intimacy, in most cultures that is after you're married, you now have a built-in permanent sexual partner when that person is consenting, and that, because sex is a need, the intimacy part of it, the belonging to a person and having a place in the world, you also, coupled with having someone to share your life journey with and to go through the trials and tribulations of life with and grow with and all of those wonderful things, you also get the thing of like, I have a definite need as an adult, a healthy mentally functioning adult. So it fulfills that. And a lot of time, like having family, having community, having other people who have access to resources gives you access in some part to their resources as well. A lot of the time when you are a contributing member of society, a happy, healthy, functioning human being, and people generally prize their interactions with you, they tend to make sure that you are well taken care of if you ever start to struggle with a need. Like if you start to go without food or housing or something, your friends or your loved one will more than likely be there to help you if you start to struggle with that. And you know, when we first started this podcast and we did the very first episode, we were talking about how there's like a Native American tribe that doesn't have a word for poverty, because in their community, being poor means to be without resources, and being without resources means being without people. And they don't understand how you could be without people. And so one thing that, and in people they mean like family members or a community or a tribe that you belong to. And when we think about poverty now, it's like to not have food, to not have a house, to not have financial resources, to go without clothing, you know, meeting your basic necessities. So I feel like they go hand in hand. And on top of the giving you a network and exposing you to people with different skills and different expertise in the world, and helping you grow in maybe business or finance, or help you grow in a social way, this like community and connectedness also helps you feel more secure in the needs portion of it, of the like having to provide for your day-to-day sustenance and nurturing and caring for yourself. So one thing that I see that people struggle with a lot, me included, honestly, is this like sense of belonging. Before, for a long time growing up, I was very awkward and introverted and afraid of myself. I didn't really understand who I was or how I fit in. And I generally had a weird level of self-esteem where I felt like I was inconveniencing to people around me. And it caused like a lot of behavioral things where like I was quiet and reserved and didn't really talk to a lot of people, didn't go out of my shell because I felt these things about me and then I made them true. Like people didn't know me, so of course they didn't want to be around me. And the space of positive thinking and having that awareness of knowing that you're the person that's hampering yourself the most is sometimes very hard. And with self-awareness, you get confidence in some of the traits about you that come really naturally. So like, I'm not so worried anymore about being introverted, like that quality of being at peace, being away from people. That I know is natural and I celebrate that about myself because I now learned like how to recharge, and it's not something that I'm ashamed of. But I also am able to recognize those pieces that are like a social necessity to operate in the world. Like when you go out in society, you need to make people feel comfortable around you and to positively engage with them. So that their interactions with you make their day better than worse. Like, nobody likes someone who's not cordial. No one likes someone who's, like, stressed out. So, like, for example, right? Say you're going to the airport and you're a hyperball of stress. And you're like, I have 1 hour exactly until my flight is taking off. And I have to make it through baggage, checking my bag. I have to make it through airport security. I have to make it onto the train and get to my terminal and make it down this corridor and get on the plane and get in my seat. So in reality, person A and person B are the same exact person, have the same exact objective: get to my flight in 1 hour. And I have to pass through all of these obstacles and deal with all of these people. Like, directly interact with people. And I can choose to not have awareness of how I'm interacting, not control how my behavior looks or impacts people, not have an awareness that I'm supposed to make people's day better, or at least, at the very least, neutral when they interact with me. That I don't have the right to put obligation or anxieties and misbehaviors on people. Or, so I can choose to not do any of that. Or I can choose to accept that I may be late for the flight, and that is the worst thing that will happen. That I can ask to be put on another flight. I can be kind to the people and hope that they will help me get through security faster. I can just not take on the wear and tear on myself of feeling stressed out because I have to get there in 1 hour. And you know, the thing is, someone, as a person who flies all the time, just literally 1 week ago from today, no, 1 week ago from tomorrow, so 6 days ago, I was going through the Atlanta airport and there was a young lady in front of me who was through the roof with stress. Like, oh gosh, I could see and hear and feel all of her stress, and then how she was treating the people that worked at TSA. And she was not listening to the TSA person because she was trying to rush to her flight and saying that her flight left in 30 minutes. I also had a flight that left in about 35 minutes and was not doing any of the things that she was doing. And she was ahead of me and put her bag through, and it got to the other side, and the TSA worker grabbed it and said, I have to run your bag back through again. And the TSA worker, I was still on the other side waiting for my bags to go through, and the TSA worker said, you know, do you have any large electronics in your bag? Can you double check? Do you have any water or food in your bags? Okay, let's double check. And as I'm double checking, I see a water in there, and they're like, okay, can you throw it away? And they send my bags through, and she's just rushing and being so unpolite to the people, and my bags make it through to the other side, and she misses her flight. Moral of the story, they had to run her bag through. She had a bunch of stuff in there that she hadn't taken out because she didn't listen, and was rushing and being rude to the people, and the people had no incentive to help this person that they knew had anxiety. Her anxiety didn't make it like more, like no one cared more. Everyone thought like if you have anxiety and you really needed help, you would be nice, because then I would want to help you. Like I would have pity on you, or I would at least see like that you're trying not to put your hardship of missing your flight on me. And that's how the workers treated her. And ever since like a couple of months ago, when I was flying during the pandemic and things started to pick up again, and my timing was off. I couldn't get to the airport on time and make it through security in a comfortable space. Like I was always just barely making it to flights, or you know, like having to reschedule a flight to another day or something like that. And so I learned during that time, like the more opportunities that you exercise kindness to the people in the community around you, the more that you act like you need them and not that they're obligated to help you, you'll receive help. I learned that when you're trying to be a member of a society and feel included and work on your connections with people and work on your sense of belonging, you need to almost all the time suppress negativity going on with you. Like your romantic partner is one of the only people who's there to hear about your stresses of the day. Like your friendships, if you continue to talk to your friends all the time about negative things and don't bring positivity to their light, or aren't someone who makes the time that you spend with them good, if you're never seeing light in a positive way with your friendships, your friends will slowly but surely move towards something that is making them happy and that does see the world in a good way, if they want to see the world in a good way. So you don't have like really a lot of space to talk to your friends about negativity. And a lot of the times when your friends really care about you, so say Jan and Sarah are best friends, and Sarah's husband is cheating on her, and Sarah is about to lose her job, and she tells Jan all of this stuff. Jan is going to be worried through the roof about her, especially if Sarah never plans on leaving her husband, just wants to tell Jan about this bad time. Now Jan just has to know all the time that Sarah's husband is cheating on her. It's like there's a fine line of confiding in people and treating the people who care about you with an empathetic spirit, and seeing that if they love you, that hardships for you are going to take a toll on them, and that you want people in your life to care about you, so you have to exercise that with a tremendous amount of caution. You can't constantly be pulling on the strings of people who provide friendship with you, because friendship doesn't necessarily negate or dictate any type of like financial benefit for them. It doesn't necessarily dictate that like you're constantly complimenting them, or that you have any type of like knowledge or insight to provide them. Like, friendship just dictates that the time that you spend with each other is positive for the people in that friendship. And it's like, you don't really have space there. You don't have space at your job to talk about negative things. When you need to bring up negativity, I know that probably was a lot, right? Like, great. So I don't get to talk to anyone about having a hard time? Like, what the heck? That doesn't seem cool. I want to talk about having a hard time. I want to talk about how unhappy I am with life. What? Why? How dare you tell me I can't talk about negativity with people? No, there's a person for that, and that's called a therapist. That's called a counselor. That's called a mental health provider, and a person who's trained to take on communication from you and help you deal with that. Sometimes your friends might not give you good advice, and you might be bringing things to them that they don't necessarily know how to deal with. And that puts a lot of pain and strain on the relationship. So it's not like, oh, you can never talk about negativity. Oh, you can't bring up stuff. You know, nobody's saying that. It's just saying, like, you need to be careful with how you talk to them about those things. Sorry, I lost my... I should probably just pull this out so that this can stay on. I have a chart I want to talk to you guys about after I talk to you about this. So having friends and keeping a relationship where people care about you genuinely, where you're able to confide in them in a way that is making both of your days better. Like, I always tell my friends, and I have a very real rule with my direct friends: don't bring up problems to me until you're ready to do something about them. I am a problem solver. So if you just want to talk about a negative experience or a hard time or something like that, that's what a therapist is for. Because a therapist is just there to listen to you. You pay them. And sometimes you can get it for free if you know how to use the system. And if you guys don't know how to get free therapy or whatever, just let me know, and I'm definitely down to do a video on therapy services in the community, both government related therapy, nonprofit therapy, therapy through schools, therapy through your work, like all different types of places, because a lot of these lessons in life towards self-actualization have therapy as a component of it. Like, hey, fix yourself, fix things so that you can get happy, address them, bring awareness to them and talk about them, and actually really wholeheartedly want to deal with this thing. Like, when we're talking about a sense of belonging, like, a lot of it was talking about, like, understanding where your need for validation, understand that you've been missing a sense of belonging for a long time because you don't feel worthy of that. And if it's hard for you to feel worthy of belonging to a community or feeling valued or feeling like people understand you, and you just really can't get a grasp on it, there's therapy for that. There's family therapy. There's therapy for individual. It's like, nobody's saying don't talk about negative things, but really pick and choose how you're interacting with society, so that in general you can get good interactions throughout the day and people excited for your present, happy about your life. Like, in the gratitude journal today, one of the statements said, I really hope that at some point you can fall in love with being alive. And I think there's a certain amount of romance in that, right? Of like leaving the house and people knowing your name, smiling at you because they have a fond memory of your interactions. Creating experiences in your society and your community that help you feel like you belong, because more positivity in people's day comes with you being there. You know, and like, you need to be a place for your friends to talk to, but also not a place of like holding secrets for people, enabling people, helping people to just complain and not take action for themselves. Like, a lot of the time, just talking about something helps people to feel better about it, and it's like, that can take a lot of pain and strain on you, because if people talk to you about their negativity or like bad things going on with them and then they never go and do anything about it, it's just like, if you really care about them, now you know all of that thing. So that's why I encourage people to be mindful of how they interact day to day with other adults, how they talk to the cashier, how they interact with their friends or the community at large, so that they can see what is appropriate behavior on them. Like, I went to the Trader Joe's one day, which is like a grocery store in California, and the lady asked, "Did you find everything okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I did, thank you. How's your day going?" And she said, "I cannot wait to be off. I am so tired of being here." And I thought, oh wow, that's so inappropriate. Like, I didn't say it to her, but in my mind I thought, wow, that's really inappropriate, because as a customer of this store, I would hope you would be happy and fulfilled. And as a person in society who wants other people to reach self-actualization, who wants people to really be genuinely happy, now I have to understand that there's a person in my community who uses 8 hours of their day that they definitely don't want to have spent doing that thing. Now I know that they're not happy doing this. Like, I didn't need any of that. I just asked you how your day was. You could have kept that to yourself. But the person just chose no filter. It's not like they actively wanted to harm in any way or were being malicious. It's that they just were being themselves without any cognitive insight into the way that you interact in home and around people who know you and are obligated to helping you with happiness, because you're obligated to helping them with happiness, is different than strangers. So, on top of friendships and your family and romantic relationships, which we're going to talk about along this journey too, to getting toward happiness, I really think that talking about a sense of love and belonging and a sense of like community really starts with the day-to-day interactions that we all have to go through, like the grocery store, the gas station, the doctor's office, transportation, anything that's like a requirement of day-to-day. It's like, I think that if we can hone in on those experiences, because they're so minor and so basic, that really the amount of positive inputs and the amount of smiles that you get and the amount of happinesses can overcome any of the hardships of actual belonging in a wholehearted community. Because those day-to-day pings of like a good interaction at the grocery store, saying the cashier's name at the gas station and acknowledging that you hope that they have a good day, being grateful that the people at the bus are on time and that there's a seat for you, and like all these things, like this practicing throughout the day of these small amounts of people being positive and happy that you're around, when you have friends and family and people who rely on you and actual hardships and people asking you to change your behavior or talking to you about deficits that you have that are leading to them having unhappinesses in their life or things that you really need to grow and change on, it's like at least you'll have the reinforcement that you're a good person. At least you'll have the reinforcement that you're a good person. At least you'll have the reinforcement that generally, like 90% of your time, like your basic operating program is pretty good, you know? And it's like the people who interact with you intimately, you can see like how they have deficits or you have deficits or how you guys might not be what is that word called? Compatible. Sorry, my brain was going blank. How you guys might not be compatible with each other because of like specific deficits that you have. But honestly, I think that all of these small little things of holding yourself responsible, going into public and being cordial and like an active member in society, like having boundaries and not just moving through life as is, really helps, honestly. So I pulled this article. I pulled a few articles, but one of the things that I saw that was like 8 ways to create a sense of belonging, which were really interesting to me, honestly, because I mean, I feel like I do these every day and that these are a healthy, happy person. So if I read these to you, you would be like, okay, yeah, like a healthy person should do those every day anyways. So let me pull them up for you. Okay. Super big on my face. So I thought that these were really interesting because it's like if you're every single day like waking up and being a good person, you would develop your develop your self-awareness. We talk about that every day, getting towards self-actualization, that awareness of the negative thoughts that you tell yourself, and awareness of how when you say positive things, what reaction in your body gets. Your awareness of your relationships, your awareness of where you're struggling and how you should move forward to places of success. Like, you're the only one who knows if you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody else knows that. No one else wakes up every day and knows if you're reaching your full potential. You may just be an idiot. Like, I mean, the harsh reality of it is like some people who aren't succeeding can't succeed. Some people who aren't doing things with their life, they just are average or below average. Average is C's get degrees, and some people are just average and don't want to achieve anything, would love to just be complacent. Growth and uncomfortable things make them unhappy. They push away from anything that they need to like be uncomfortable with. And nobody knows if you know that you're supposed to be doing more than you're doing, but you're the only one who can have that level of awareness. Because who are we to tell you if you should be doing something if you don't know that that's a thing to do or you can't do it? What if someone tells a person you should be an entrepreneur and go get a business, start a business, and this person wastes their life savings, their family's life savings, doesn't know how to do anything with a business, fails miserably, goes into debt? Like, who's to tell you that you're supposed to do more? Like, maybe you don't post to write an ebook or make a course about something, like, that you don't have that in you. maybe too much other stuff is going on in life, but like you're the only one who's gonna have that level of awareness. So when I saw this list, create a sense of belonging, it's like, good golly, we have a breakthrough here, a thing that really talks about almost all the things on our list to self-actualization. Have the courage to be vulnerable, right there, second from the bottom. Grow. What did we just say? We do not know if you have the awareness that you need to grow. We do not know if you have the awareness that you can be fulfilling more. We do not know what your purpose in life is, what fulfills you the most. So you gotta be vulnerable. You're the one who needs to know if something is uncomfortable and you're gonna take the leap anyways. You're gonna be the one who knows, like, I would like more sense of community. I don't really speak to people when I go out in public. It's uncomfortable for me, but I need to be vulnerable, so I'm going to talk to people, because the worst thing that people can do is say no or be mean, and that's the worst of it, you know? Maintain an open and curious mind. That, right there on the self-esteem, right there on the self-actualization. You said that if you're curious, if you practice curiosity, you said that if you practice being open to other people's ideas, open to not knowing everything, being open to doing new adventures, being open to not knowing, that you could have a more sense of belonging. What? So, with this, maintain an open and curious mind. I love to use this reference every time, and I hope that this will help you look at yourself, be like, oh, okay, shit, that does make a little bit of sense. Look at yourself, look at the things that you say, assess the things that other people are saying, and here's what I always tell people. Have you ever met someone who says that they don't like pork? And when someone says they don't like pork, and you can put pork in quotations and use whatever you want. I don't like this. I don't like cabbage. I don't like shrimp. I don't like whatever. I often use pork because pork is a meat that is cooked differently all throughout the world. Pork comes in many different types of preparation of meat. You can get baked ham. You can get fried bacon. You can get pork belly. You can get ribs. You can get all type of different pork. You can get it from all different parts of the world. Have you eaten pork in Japan? Have you eaten pork in India? Have you eaten pork in Brazil? Have you eaten baked pork? Have you eaten fried pork? Have you eaten barbecued pork? Have you eaten pork at 18 and at 28? Have you eaten pork with size or prepared differently or with a different open mind? And I often like to use, have you tried it differently at different times right now in the current place to know for a fact that you still don't like pork? Are you constantly giving yourself the place, the space to say, I may have grown. I may like things. I forever don't know because I haven't had every experience forever. I am not infinity, and that is a beautiful place for me to be because I have every opportunity to always continue to grow. So when people say, I don't like this thing, I don't like tennis. Well, have you played tennis with people that you know? You know, a lot of people say, I don't like video games, or I don't like this specific type of video game. And it's very different when you play that video game sitting next to somebody in the same room on two separate TVs. It's a whole different experience. So it's like, Do you give yourself the space to grow, and do you give yourself the space to know that you don't know everything about yourself? And I think that maintain an open and curious mind, if you constantly say, okay, I don't like that, I have an awareness of that, I'm going to reassess that in a different place. Hey, I know I don't like pork in San Francisco, but I'm in Tokyo, so let me see if I like pork here. Keep trying to give yourself experiences in life, because what is the point of avoiding growth and avoiding positivity for one small moment of uncomfortableness? Oh, okay, cool, I don't like pork. I still don't like pork. And you can tell yourself at the end of your life, I've been trying to like pork for 40 years, and I really just think I don't like it. Because I keep trying, and I have not found pork that I like. You know, you can continue to try things and opportunities that don't innately harm yourself, to keep a curious mind. And that will give you more places and more spaces to find community to fit into. I don't like roller skating. Cuts off every people that roller skate. Every group you can join, every experience that your friends and family invite you to, every amount of happiness of developing an expertise at something. Like, having a curious mind will continue to give you more experiences in life, which will attract people to you who have similar experiences, who want to learn to have the sense of childlike freedom in their conditioned learning. Like, you condition yourself to say, I don't like this, and that is forever. That's not really how things are as a child. As a child, you continuously want to see new experiences and new things and try things again. And even if you don't like banana, you'll try banana again. You know, so it's like, I feel like that one right there, maintain an open, curious mindset, is positive for anything throughout your whole life, honestly. Ooh. Okay. Don't get caught up prioritizing other social distractions. So, I've been a fan of a podcast for some time now. This podcast talks about how people... Try and make it bigger so that I can... I've been a fan of this podcast for a while now, that talks about relationships, and I also was a guest on a YouTube show recently that talks about relationships. And in this podcast that I was on, they said that men should 100% prioritize themselves, their job, their goals in life, and not worry about relationships. And that you should... they even said, like, up to a year. Like, wait up to a year before getting serious with people. And I think that putting that on this list of don't get caught up prioritizing other social distractions is really important for the sense of love and sense of belonging and into a community, because you are your relationships. You cannot be who you are by yourself. I often challenge people who say, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm patient. If you don't have somebody else around, if you're not that way to other people, then that's not who you are. You cannot be patient if you're not patient with other people. If you're just patient with yourself, or just kind to yourself, I mean, that might be a little bit of gluttony, I'm sure, but you are not patient if in interactions with other people, you do not treat them patiently and you do not have a sense of patience. Does that make sense? Like, people have this really weird, skewed idea that, like, because I recently saw this girl who was like, I'm really good in relationships, and I'm ready for a relationship, and I've grown since my last relationship. And the guy said, when was your last relationship? And she said, 2 years ago. And he said, oh, you've grown since your last relationship? You've grown to be comfortable outside a relationship. You're rusty on the relationship skills because you haven't been in one. So you haven't been dealing with other people. You haven't been exercising the skills of the person that you are with other people because you haven't been in a relationship. So you couldn't have gotten better at relationships. You got better at being by yourself. So when they say don't get caught up in prioritizing other social distractions, what I take from that is that you need to be who you are in relationships and in your community, wholeheartedly invested in that, so that you can see the response and reaction that you get from this, right? If you keep a relationship, a guy, so for me, right, as a girl, if I'm saying I'm going to wait a year to give a guy these things that I think are important or that I exercise in a relationship, and I'm going to wait a year to do these with them, and then see how important they treat them. So if I waited a year, started dating someone, and then a year later was like, can you order my Ubers for me? It would take me a year of having spent time with this person to find out very quickly that they don't want to order my Ubers, they don't pay attention to where my Uber is, they don't care about my safety, or don't want to share their location, or any type of thing like that. If you're waiting a year to be who you are, then you're never going to get the response and stimulus of who you are. You're going to get the response and stimulus of the thing that you're doing. So if you don't want to introduce your partner to your family, if you're like, oh, I'm going to wait a year to introduce them to my family, and it's something that you wanted to do, and you wanted to see the reaction of how your family likes them, or your friends, even maybe if you want to introduce people to your friends, see how your friends like them, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to wait a year because I always have to know someone a year before I do anything. It's like, that's so arbitrary, and you're missing out the opportunity of being who you are by focusing on other social distractions, getting caught up in, I have a standard of what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm going to focus on my job and working out and not focus on who I am in a relationship, and just wait it out to see if they pass a test, or see how they are with me after time, or wait till I want to be who I really am with them. It's like, that's not going to get you very far. You're going to be wasting a lot of time, and you may get to a year and then start exercising who you are in someone's life, and then realize that you just got played. Like, they do not want that, and you were focused on your job before, so stay focused on your job now. You know what I mean? You might be like, okay, well, I was focused on my job for a year, and now I want to be with this person at home every night. I'm sorry, there's a bug in here. I want to be at home every night with this person, and now they don't want to do that because they're not used to that. Which is kind of crazy and funny, because I have a friend who married someone in the military, and he was deployed all the time for their first 4 years of marriage. He was deployed 3 times, and their second 4 years of marriage, because he re-enlisted, their second 4 years of marriage, he didn't leave at all, and she was not used to him being home, and their marriage slowly they slowly figured out that they didn't know each other, and their marriage quickly fell apart after that, because they realized that they had been conditioned to behave a one way, and he prioritized his job for so long that when he came home, that his relationship was completely different. And it was like, Now he has no wife and no sense of belonging because he belongs to his workplace. And here's the thing, when I was reading these things about belonging, a sense of belonging, people need a sense of belonging all throughout their life, like from childhood till death, right? So like the trajectory of the age of your life. But also with needing it all throughout your life, you need it all throughout different parts of your current life that you're living, right? So if you have a job, you need belonging there. If you have a relationship or a romantic interaction, you need to have belonging there. You can't just have a romantic interaction and this person just wants to have sex with you. You're not going to have any sense of belonging, and you're still going to look for that in a romantic space. If you have family, you need belonging there. If you have a community or sports or anything, you have a family there. I know people who are constantly the butt of a joke with their friend group, and it's like they have a loving, supportive, romantic relationship, and they have a great job, and people respect them at their work, but they're like the butt of their friend group because they're so different from the community that they came around. And it's like, it tries them to their soul. They feel like they don't belong. Like, I went to college, so I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from Vallejo, California, and a lot of people that I grew up with either ended up incarcerated or dead or part of gang violence. And some of the people from our neighborhood went on to get degrees, and because we're from the Bay Area, a lot of them went to Bay Area schools like Cal State Berkeley or Stanford, which are really great schools in the rest of the country. And there is a separation between the people who grew up with each other in the friend group of like, these people are a part of gang violence and incarcerated, and this person is an Ivy League graduate who works in downtown San Francisco. And although respected at their work, you know, an IT professional and consultant in the Bay Area, with their friend group, they're nerdy. And they're that corporate dude who acts a certain way, you know, a couple hours a day. And it's like, they have a tremendous sense of loss of belonging, and even though that they're appreciated at their job and relationship and all those other things, because their friends in their community don't respect them or have a sense of belonging for them, they struggle with that, and their self-esteem is hurt with that. So although it's a necessity to feel belonging in all facets of your life and all throughout your life. So be mindful of like those times where you may be struggling from happiness, where you might not be 100% happy, and seeing like, okay, well, I feel a sense of belonging, and then just quickly crossing that off your list, but not really honing into like, okay, maybe I don't really feel belonging with my family because I'm in a new relationship and they really like my old relationship, and now I'm having to grow into, you know, that sense of belonging with them again or whatever. Like, don't just cross over it so fast, because belonging in a community and having a sense of love and belonging really impacts like a lot of your other levels to getting towards self-actualization. Like your self-esteem for sure gonna be all off the hinges if you don't feel like a sense of belonging. You maybe not gonna be having your physiological need of sex being met if you don't have a sense of belonging. Like if you're in a romantic relationship and you don't belong, you might not have physical relation anymore. Understand the true belonging, understand the difference between true belonging and fitting in. Oh, we got there. That was rough. Sorry. Understand the difference between true belonging and fitting in. So that's something that, again, awareness is going to be the only thing that gets you to this level, because nobody will know if they're peer pressuring you or societal pressuring you to be the person that they want you to be, Only you will know if the people around you don't make you feel good. Only you will know if you have not been assertive with the people in your life to interact with you in ways that make you feel like you're a valued member in their group. So yesterday, when I was doing the episode, or when I was doing research for the episode on security and on control in our life, I came up on a thing that I thought would be good for today's episode, more so than yesterday's episode, because the sense of love and belonging, a lot of the time, the biggest hurdle that we have is the way that we talk, the way that we believe, and the way that our brain operates with information and instructions. So the thing that I watched yesterday said, our brain, our behavior is like, she was so cute. She said, I often go to Airbnbs and sometimes I'm met with a strange washing machine. And because these are different people's houses and all the washing machines are different, I get there and I see there's no instructions for this washing machine, and I can maybe get through one load haphazardly, if even at all. But really, let's just have this thing here and there's no instructions for it. And they said that's how your brain is. Your brain didn't really come with instructions. So fortunately for us, we have psychologists and people who think about those things, and they said that your brain is really, really powerful and only understands present tense and only understands very descriptive words. That your brain needs specific situations and things that it can conceptualize and picture for it to be real, for it to become real. So if you say, I'm going to live a happy life, I think what she said is happy way every day, or happy every day in every way. And that's like a mental health statement or something. Happy in every way, every day. And she said that's really hard for the brain to understand. Happy in every way, every day. Your brain can't conceptualize that. Like, you're just gonna be happy forever. No. So she said the brain also doesn't understand no or don't. You know, have you ever told a child to don't pick that up, don't play with that? And then it's like, why I'm always telling my child don't do this and they always do the opposite. It's like your brain doesn't understand don't, it doesn't understand no, it doesn't understand next year I'm gonna have great friendships. It doesn't understand that. Your brain only understands present day speaking. Your brain only understands positive sentences, and your brain only understands like very visual pictured things that have conceptual parameters to it so that it's accomplishable. And I think that that's really important in this love and belonging. That people don't tell themselves like, well, I'll lose weight so that I can get in a relationship. I'll lose weight so I can get self-esteem so I can get in a relationship. Well, if I use this app next week, maybe I'll find people that are good to date. Or with a lot of growth, people in my community I'll fit in better. Like, also fit in better. That's not a thing that you can really conceptualize. Your brain needs really positive, really concrete and positive things. When I interact with people, I will make sure that I hold myself to a standard of cordiality in public. Like, that's very easy for your brain to understand. And to tell yourself, I have value, I'm worthy of relationships, of giving and receiving love. I dedicate my time to people in a way that I hope makes them feel like they have a place on earth, that they have a home and space of comfort and place to be themselves. Like, saying things positively about yourself, current, present tense, is one of the best ways for you to structure your interactions, to structure the way in which you're going out and being treated and trying to treat other people, and really boost that self-esteem. So I think that, like, the lesson that I learned from Your Brain is Really Powerful is to tell yourself specific things when you become aware of what you're lacking. Tell yourself specific things that you're going to do that make other people's day better with you in it. Because that's the only thing that you can control, is your behavior and your intended goal. And those are the things that you can give yourself, like, the check off box of it, like, you know. So on top of, and just to reiterate that is, you know, understanding of belonging and fitting in is reinforced by telling yourself that you have value, that you are a good person, and that people do benefit from you being around. And that will help you to have a sense of awareness if you're not fulfilled. Because you may not be, like, your community may not be good for you. You may be a minority or marginalized in your community or treated negatively in some way. I could only imagine that it was tremendously hard for gay people in the 1940s in the Deep South, or for interracial marriages before, like, the 1920s. Like, I could only imagine that you being you was probably met with a fervent amount of hatred and like, animosity. And so it's not always to say that your community is good for you, but that comes from a amount of self-awareness of, like, I am putting my best foot forward every day, and I'm trying to make other people's days positive by me being in it, and they are just not meeting that. I just do not fit in. Like, I am trying, like, I just do not belong. I'm trying to fit in as much as I can, and I don't belong here. I'm not fitting in. Because I think that's the thing about fitting in, is that we feel like we don't. If you have to fit in, then you don't, right? Then you don't belong, and you know that. So I think that's really important. And this, identify who is most important to you. I think that, like, cultivating your relationships, knowing whether your family is most important and those ideological values, and expressing that to a romantic partner, whether you need to tell your family that you and your romantic partner and the nuclear family is going to be more important to you, and growing in that way and really having integrity and expressing that to people helps you to belong stronger, right? Like, if your romantic partner is the most important thing to you and you focus solely on that, and you express to them, like, my romantic relationships are the most important, important for them. You'll find people who are compatible with you if you're focusing on those and investing in that. Like I always say, the things that you focus on will grow. So I think that we touched on all 8 of these. Excuse me. So we touched on all 8 of these, and I think that was really really important to go down through that list of, like, ways to work on belonging. Not so much necessarily romantic relationships, but any sphere of, like, internet, in person, whatever you're doing, there's always a place for you to build more community, build more of people being excited for you to be around, build more of that, oh, hey, I'm so happy you're here. Like, that's always positively reinforcing. When people are happy to have you around, when you don't take on obligations that you can't meet, or have relationships with people that aren't fulfilling to you, or you're stretching yourself too thin, so reinforcing. So much happiness comes from that. And like I said, in those times of trials and tribulations, when you have a community, a lot of the needs that you have that are going unmet, like food, sleep, shelter, those can be provided by your community if you're a valuable member and people really care about your functioning. If your functioning leads to their happiness, then you're on the right path, you know? So this has been episode 8, Love and Belonging. So, this episode will go up on Anchor and it'll be saved here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for watching. Next week we'll probably talk about reciprocity, all the different forms of reciprocity and what reciprocity means to a community or to a sense of belonging or to being an online content creator or whatever the case may be. But reciprocity in general is like the you scratch my back, I scratch yours. The I give you seeds for you to grow crops and you give me pieces of those crops to feed my animals. It is a sense of like, I get online and make content because it makes you happy, and you watch the content and make my numbers go up, and that makes me happy, so I keep making it. You know, reciprocity is a thing that really is at the core of communities, and I think that we don't talk about that a lot, that like, if you coming to work and being happy makes other people more productive, makes other people happy to see you, then they'll generally try to make you happy. And I think that's really important in community building, is to talk about what is at the core of communities, because most of the time it's commerce, like money, bartering, community overall. You know, what's the difference between family and community? Like, most of the time it's some type of marketplace and or bartering system, or needing other people for something that you and your family cannot provide for yourselves, right? So I'm gonna go and read the chat. Hello, hi. Thank you everyone for your thumbs up. If you could throw me a thumbs up for the episode, I would appreciate it. The thumbs up really help. I should probably say, like, please thumbs up more throughout the episode, but I just like to really get through the hour long for the podcast so that people can listen to it pretty easily in their car. So it's nice to see you too. I never met anyone who doesn't like pork at all, but I know a few people who don't like pepperoni. I love pork like crazy. But you've heard people who say, I don't like cauliflower. I don't like zucchini. Like, well, motherfucker, have you tried baked zucchini with the ranch, with the country crock ranch seasoning over the top of it, with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, throw it in the air fryer till it's crisp? Have you? Have you tried zucchini chips? Have you tried zucchini pasta? You just gonna cut out all zucchini? What? What? No, I'm just kidding. But I've seen people, they say that they don't like specific things, and then it's like, when did you learn that about yourself? Oh, when I was 8 years old, I went to Disneyland with my family, and we had this one zucchini pie, and it was freaking gross, and they threw it in my face, and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you was 8, and you really just let that harm you forever? You're never going to try zucchini anywhere else? Never, ever? You just don't like it? That sucks. Way to be traumatized. So, not so much like just specifically pork. I think I use pork a lot because I like the fact that so many different cultures prepare pork different ways. Pork belly, pork fries, pork feet, pork everything. So, there's no way a person who likes pork in Tokyo after they don't like pork in San Francisco. That's crazy. No, like, I think that people, if you're 14 and you learn that you don't like pork and you try it again when you're 34, it's like, come on, give yourself 20 years of growth, of a possibility of changing. I feel like you deserve that for yourself, to not know that you know everything. To not cheat yourself out of something that might possibly be really wonderful because of the possibility that you don't like something. Other than things that are harmful to you, like for me, I've never drank coffee and I'm probably never going to drink coffee. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I don't want to drink it. It's bad for you. Caffeine is hard on your body and people develop addictions and they spend a lot of money and can't get off it, and I don't really need it, so I don't want to drink it, so I'm not going to. But I don't feel like I'm missing out on, and it's not something that I'm like, oh, I don't like it. It's just like I don't want to drink it because it's a drug, and I don't feel like you have to justify why you don't want to do drugs, but some people, like, they just feel like they know themselves so much, and it's like, give yourself some hope that you've changed, I like cauliflower and zucchini, even the zucchini noodles I ate, all those all the time, right? Zucchini noodles, delicious. I like those fried or air puff zucchini chips, zucchini puffs or whatever. They're so good. But yeah, I just thought I'd do this episode less on the concept of relationships and romantic things, because I think that having a community can help with romantic relationships at the core of it. If you have more people to spend time with, more people who are interested in your romantic success, like, you can get set up by a matchmaker in your community, Or just simply, if you have things to do, it makes you more attractive to yourself and then more attractive to other people. Hi. Welcome. At first, when I was little, I hated onions, peppers, olives, but when I got a little older, I started liking them. Yeah. See, I just think that comes with all type of things, with all type of relationships, with all type of experiences in life, with all type of everything. Just give yourself an opportunity to know that you don't know. But if nobody has any questions or comments, I really appreciate the thumbs up on the videos. They mean a lot to me. I go back and I look and I see, I have thumbs up on them. So this was episode 8, Love and Belonging. So I hope that this episode was helpful, and I'll be here tomorrow for episode 9 of Self-Esteem. Wednesday at 4 p.m. So I will see you at 4 p.m. Make sure you come and hang out and share this. Today we got our custom URL, so now we are youtube.com/C for channel /Fairly Often. So we are the Fairly Often channel here on YouTube, and I love you all so much for doing that for me. So thank you. I will see you guys in the Discord and tomorrow on Twitch, live on Twitch for Wake Up News and Twitter Trending. See you tomorrow at 4.